My father's a proud man, and he doesn't like to give me anything. I said, Dad, when I was a boy, did you ever feel that I was such a weight on your shoulders? And he said, not really. I've got to tell you this, and I got to tell you this because I love you. All of your teachers, they always said, Pep is one of the most precocious children in our class. We have no worries about him, and I guess they were wrong. But it's probably not your fault. Had you have had a different mother, you might have made something of your life instead of a mess, which is what you have made of your life. You're sleeping in the pool house. Bubbles won't let you back. I'm a deal maker. I am the son of a deal maker. My father, Red Pepper, was one of the most sought-after deal makers there was in the country when it came to selling broken-down farm equipment to the third world. There was nobody better than Red. He made a lot of money. Red never thought much of education, didn't have much, and didn't feel he needed much. I'll admit my father, Red Pepper, is a difficult man. He's willful, he's arrogant, he's narcissistic, generous, charming, and petty, all in one tightly wound package. My father's the kind of fellow who could probably settle a conflict in the Middle East in the morning and have a war going with Switzerland by lunchtime. He left my mother, probably because she was a liberal. We touched on that last week. Liberalism drove my mother mad, I'll tell you that too. It makes me sick to think about what happened to my poor mother in that North Carolina madhouse. I told you folks this was going to be a heavy one, a real heavy one. And consequently, as I very often do in these moments when I don't know what to do, I got on my cell phone and I called my father. I was a little bit depressed, and when I get depressed, you know what I generally do? I get out the old cell phone and I call my dad. And Dad and I have not been doing too well lately, you know. And I said, Dad? And he said, yeah, what do you want? And I said, I don't want anything. I just want to talk. He said, that's something. And that's how Red is, you know. No matter what you say red, he says green. You say black, he says white. I said, I don't want anything. He said, well, you don't lie to me. What, are you trying to get elected? I said, are you reading my mind? He said, yeah, like a dirty book. And that's Red's idea of a joke. And I said, look, I just came up with the most brilliant idea. The guy who gets the fewest votes wins the election. What do you think of that? He stopped for a minute and he said, nobody votes anymore anyway. Who cares? How's your Viking funeral working out? And I said, well, you know, not too bad. It happens every week. I make that phone call and it just gets me nowhere. But he's my father, and what am I supposed to do? Bubble said it was time for me to go to therapy. And, you know, she thinks I need to work on problems I have with my father. So I get on my cell phone and I call him up, you know, and I said, Dad? And he said, yeah. I said, you know, I'm going into therapy. And he said, you're what? No therapist is going to be able to tell you more about yourself than your own father. And I felt like saying, but Dad, you were never around to see me. I mean, if I really wanted to know who I was, I'd probably have to go ask Bingo. But, you know, that's how my father is. And we talked about therapy and things, and he tried to teach me. He said, you know, one thing you got to know about therapy is don't believe everything they're telling you. And I said, okay. And he says, because they are not believing everything you're telling them. I said, Dad, that is good advice. And he said, yes, it is. I'm your father. That's my job, to provide good advice. And we chatted a little bit more, and we really didn't get anywhere, but we never do. So once that was accomplished, once I'd spoken to Red about the therapy I was planning to undergo, I felt free, and starting next week, I'll be back with, guess who, Dr. Gretsch, trying to work through these issues, these Oedipal issues and other issues and all kinds of issues. You know, right now, at this juncture, old Pep wants to give you all some good news, and this is the